Okay, this is the old starter, this is the new starter. I was having an issue with this starter here. Whenever I put the hot post cable to the battery, probably can't see it that much, but anyway, every time I touch this to the battery, the old starter would crank up. It would start up and run, even with the all the wires disconnected everywhere except for that hot wire for the battery going to the starter. And I took it to the O'Reilly's Auto Parts. They put it on their machine, but still couldn't tell me what was wrong with it. So the guy comes back, he's like, yeah, you probably right, it's probably a bad solenoid. Okay, so I brought a solenoid, then I told him I didn't want the solenoid before I leave the store with it, because they won't take it back if you take it out of the store. So I cashed it in, because it was as much for this solenoid, for a new solenoid for this old starter, as it was for me almost about this whole starter with the solenoid on it. It was like $53 after tax for just the solenoid. So I'm like, I can pay $79, buy the whole starter and the fuel filter for under 80 bucks. That's the best way to go. So that's what I did. So now what I'm doing is I already tested this hot cable on the battery with the new starter, and it didn't try to crank up. No spark, no nothing. So that's good. So somewhere inside of this old starter solenoid or the starter, there's a grounding going on, because sparks was shooting from here. When it was trying to crank up, sparks was coming from here. And the guy at the auto parts said the same thing. They said, yeah, I saw sparks jumping around too on our machine. So I told him, I said, well, ain't no need of me purchasing a solenoid, and it could be a problem inside the starter. Then I lose $53 for one of these here rascals if the problem's inside of the starter itself, which is probably going to be inside that solenoid, but you can't take them apart anymore like you used to. They have them enclosed. That's why they sell you the whole starter. On the older Chevrolet models, you had two screws that mount the solenoid up to the starter itself, and you take those screws out and take the doggone thing apart and go inside and change out the contacts and stuff like that. The little copper contacts is probably stuck in here, but look at the difference. It's a 1996 Chevy Tahoe, and the starter looks older than me almost. Well, that's not so. I'm 60 years old, but that's the difference right there. Get rid of the old and just put in all new.